All right, my friends, here we go. This is the Grad Show. I had a little bit of technical difficulty starting this show today. Oh, what are you going to do? I don't even have my Chess Dojo hat on. I'm a man of many hats, my friends. Let's put on the Chess Dojo hat. Muy importante. Okay, so if you're watching in this YouTube, it says Kostya playing Naroditsky Memorial Rapid and Blitz. I couldn't change the title. I cannot change the title. I don't know how to change the title. I was able to change it in Twitch. This is a technical grief that it's just been with me for years. This has happened before, so I'm not going to get mad. All right, so we have a nice little graduation show with several games to look at today. So I'm seeing 16 players and about 14 players with games. So that's looking pretty good. Now, kind of interesting to me anyways, it's always the upper rated players, the higher rated players who don't have the games. It's because they're too proud. That's why it happens. It's harder to look at your games when you're a higher rated player because you've already invested so much emotional energy that you can no longer look at your games because it drives you insane. That's why. That's where the biggest gains come. We're going to look at New York Marcos. He graduated up here to 4,500. Join the dojo. Let's give him a follow. And yeah, things are looking good here for New York Marcos. Join the dojo. What happens? You go up a bunch of points. That's what happens. He's got a game for us in here somewhere. Let's give it a look. All right, here we are. So the first thing we'll say is New York Marcos uses his time in this game. We're going to give our rant about why people don't cross 1,000 Dojo, 1250chess.com. But this right away is one of the key barriers, and that is being able to think for an extended period of time. And New York Marcos does it. His opponent does not. Who wins? Let's find out. Poor move, Queen F6. Going for a cheap mate. That ain't going to happen today, son. Poor move, not developing. Good move. Poor move. This opens the bishop either this way or he could have taken this way as well. Okay, good. Good. And now bishop d5 maybe? Bishop b5, okay. Knight e7, good move. Boom. 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 Now maybe queen c4 here. Might be a good move. Talking to all his coconuts. d5. h3. Black should definitely take now. One thing I really like about what white has done is even though there's been some mistakes, white is committed to developing. So right away we can say about New York Marcos, he's got, of the three keys, he's got development and time down pretty good. Now this move scares me because of bishop f3. But here we go. Bishop f3. Boom, boom, boom. You had to play bishop e7 because on rook e2 here you would be down a piece. So we don't want to be down a piece. So you did the right thing, my friend. So now we got this endgame. Okay. Now here we want a little bit more talking about what's going on here. A little bit more talking. I don't understand a lot of these moves. I don't think your opponent does either. And this f5 move was terrible. You could have taken with check. Good. Poor. So he's just checking you, and now you're wrecking him. Checking and wrecking. Oh, you played this pretty good. He's about to abandon the game. Oh, very nice play, honestly. Very nice play. His last move, King d7, was actually a little inaccurate because d6. No, I don't know. He could mess with you a little bit. It would have been better to play c5 first. But we are going to say, New York Marcos, that you have got a great start. And I'll mark this as reviewed. So you maybe get a little notification that I did so. I think You are doing great. And so I think you are going to progress quickly, right? The other barrier, the most important one, is the hanging of stuff, right? So we saw a little bit of the hanging of stuff here, but ultimately I didn't feel like when we were going to look at other players that you're doing better than them already. So I feel like we're going to see you again soon. Next up, we have Andy. Andy's a hero of the dojo. Let's first read what he says. Happy to report that I crossed the 1,000 chess.com line a second time and feel like it's going to stick. Here's a game for the graduation show to review. It's a ChessCom 30+0, but still a nice one. And let me grab it first, and then I'll tell a little story about Andy. So Andy is from Germany, Andreas, and he has been in the ChessDojo Game and Profile Review since the beginning of the year, and it's been working great for Andy, as you can see with this amazing graph. And you can see he was in the dojo well before we had the Game and Profile Review, but after the Game and Profile Review, he's going even faster. And it's harder because, you know, the first couple months of gains in the program are going to be easier, right? And then it looks like here you hit kind of a plateau. Game and Profile Review, boom, flying up. So if you go to the dojo site and you hit on the live classes button, that's how you will find the Game and Profile Review. He's an older dude like me, and it's hard. It's hard to progress. So I'm very impressed that he is doing it. And you can see he's doing the Game Profile Review. He's also doing some tactics. So that's all looking great. And so let me just say about the Game and Profile Review, you know, when I do this grad show, of course, I'm only able to do, let's call it a cursory review of games and profiles. And I also don't get to talk to the people as well. So, you know, the Game Profile Review is a much deeper thing that doesn't involve just me, but the group of players that you're put with. So Andy is in a group where he is players a little bit stronger than him, honestly. It's our second group. So we have 5 groups in the dojo, from absolute beginner all the way up to about 2,100. And so that would be ChessCom, I think, 2,300. Okay, so let's go take a look at the game he wants us to look at. And, all right. So it's a fast game, not a long game. Let's see how it goes. Good. By the way, Andy doesn't know any special openings, and I very much like it that way. At this level, the most important thing is learning how to develop, and Andy has gotten very good at that. So, and he knows this trick because we've looked at tricks like this in our group. So white is maybe a little bit better now. Now we're up a pawn. He takes this guy. Don't take the pin piece. No need to. And I love the eval here. Absolutely seems correct. We're clearly better. We're up a pawn. The 2 bishops. Beautiful. Nice move. Good. That's a very annoying pin. Pushes us away. Okay. Beautiful. Look at how the harmony, the 2 bishops. Amazing. C6. I don't think I understand C6. Castles. It's a particularly bad move, C6. Well, the most important reason is it loses the tempo. But in addition, it's going to invite Queen D6 that we could have done on the last move. Oh, my lord. Oh, my lord. Queen D6. That's a big one. So let's say technically, I think castling is fine, of course. But Queen D6 would have been better. One of the things Queen D6 would have done is it would have prevented castling. Prevents everything. You no puedo mover ever again. Okay. Of course, we're doing great. Now here comes Queen D6. Beautiful. G5. Now he's calling this a mistake, but, well, wait, time out though. It's fun because we need to talk about this, Andy. I want to know if you saw the trick, because otherwise the knight is going to get popped. But on knight g6, what do we got? Bang! Oh no! Pin and win is what they say. Here's a nice variation. Bishop a6, trying to draw us away. And we say, well, before I go away, I'm going to deliver mate. Yeah, buddy. All right, here we go. g5. I don't know what else he's supposed to do. Knight g6. Bam! We got him. Beautiful. Oh, it's truly cruel here. Mate. Welcome to the dojo. Beautiful game. So, one of the most amazing things about this is Andy's just made such great progress. The beginning, he was hanging pieces. That was the most important thing. He wasn't developing religiously. And the time graphs weren't looking great, as I remember. I have a little fuzzier there. But the progress in these basic areas has truly happened. And when we go back to his profile, I mean, you reach 1,000, that's a big deal. It's interesting. When do you stop calling yourself a beginner? Well, maybe sometime around 1,000 ChessCon. Somewhere around there. Yeah. Okay, so good stuff. Actually, I can save these variations. So you can see my moves. And then we'll go on to Skirix. Skirix says, newbie to the dojo, really enjoying it so far. It's been really helpful to have a clear body of training material to work through, and has made me realize I was definitely getting ahead of myself with what I was reading/working on prior. Focusing on fundamentals has really reduced my blundering, and my ratings graph isn't quite as much of a roller coaster as it used to be. So we're going to look at Rebel Lion K12 in his games. All right, so here we go, Skirix. Give him a follow. And he looks like an Australian rugby player, doesn't he? I don't want to say nothing bad about this dude. This dude might end up hurting me, dude, Look at that guy's neck. That guy's neck is, huge. Bigger than my leg. We better watch it, Kraai. Don't say nothing mean about this Skirix, dude. All right. Beautiful. As you can see, he is working pretty well every day. Set himself a goal of 9 hours a week and basically hitting him. All right. Beautiful. All right. Looking great. So let's go take a look at the games. We're looking for Chess Wolf. There it is. This is our game. All right. Now, what we want to say is that the time graph here, so 30 plus 30, is more typical of what I see on the grad show every week. And the fact that I saw it again and again and again helped me understand that this time usage is one of the keys to making 1,000 Dojo, which is 1250 chess.com. And basically, you shouldn't say to yourself, oh, I just need to think. You should say to yourself, I have to learn how to think. That it's not just going to come immediately. And you're also going to be playing players for quite some time who aren't thinking. And that can be intimidating too. It'd be like, well, he's moving so fast. Well, I guess I got to move fast too. All right, so this is one of the key things. I say it every time I would do the show. It's important to repeat, though. All right. So he studied a YouTube variation. I think if you didn't study a YouTube variation, you might just develop your pieces and you'd be fine. So this is very spicy, E5, okay. And we actually had a similar game come up in the Alekhine group of the Game and Profile Review, where White also found himself in a little difficulty with this queen move. All right. So, knight h3 is truly weird because it's allowing bishop takes h3 for one. By the way, I think f3. I don't believe in f3. I know it's a move, and the computer probably says it's okay, but I don't like it. And I think this is what you deserve. So I like bishop takes h3. At least I don't understand what's wrong with it. That move has to be good, too. Oh, and so notice now he's playing for pawns. But we're going to start zapping him. King d2, queen e3 is mate. Now in the video, there's some talk about c takes d5. The thing you should see about bishop d4 is your bishop is completely secure on f2, so there's no need to do anything about it. So whether you like c takes d5 or not, you should just realize, oh, I could do anything. And what should you be doing? Developing the piece. Knight d7, knight e7. You could also take the pawn. I don't understand this move. What is white doing? He's playing too fast. Now this, by the way, when you take here, you're allowing him to play bishop e3. Submarine Mike, thank you very much. Thank you for the sub. All right, so d6, again, not a developing move. So I want to stress, we can talk forever about openings, but white's problem isn't openings. It's the fact he doesn't know how to develop. All right, knight f6. Knight f6 makes me a little nervous because we have to address the tactical issues. Is your bishop getting hosed here? Okay, so you have to be able to solve that problem. I don't know if there is one. Bishop e3, maybe. Queen b5, I don't like. Why aren't we taking it? Snip, snap. King e1, now you go snip, snap. King f2 made a lot more sense to me. You're taking a bunch of stuff. King f2, not a developing move, and but you were hitting his bishop. You said thank you very much. All right, so now it's completely over. We're hoping you bring your bishop back home. You did not. That was a free piece. You're still winning, though. Okay, you're doing great. Okay, you're doing great. I don't know what he's doing. Knight g6, I'm on board. Well, you definitely want to trade that thing. I don't like this. Play rook d7, and then you can play king f8 and f6. Now it's giving me a little heebie-jeebies because those pawns are kind of strong. Played a5. Now I'm starting to get worried. You're taking forever. Oh no, he's invaded. Oh, now I'm really worried. Because see, he's going to take the pawn, and the bummer here is now his rook's invading, and you got to start worrying about that, my friend. e6 right away is a big concern. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Uh-oh, blunder. He had to play bishop f1 or something. Bishop somewhere, basically. All right, so now we're winning again. I want you to go win that pawn, sure. Now this move I didn't like. He could have at least, give you a snip snapper. Now he gives you the snip, so that was bad. Why do we give him that pawn? All right, poor to put the king there. Now it's hard for him to move. Now this should be pretty basic. Pretty basic. At some point, we're going to sack a Rooney. And one thing, just as a, let's say, theoretical endgame, is that if white achieves a7, see what you write. It's hard to see if I had a way to win because a7 is always a threat, and then the king can just keep moving back and forth. Correct? Because the problem is you're going to be in stalemate once he plays a7. So that's a theoretical draw. Maybe this is a computer line, but queen c3 is a nice move preventing this. Check to the miserable king. Oh, nice move, buddy. Nice move, queen c7. All right, so the technique was poor, but let me just tell you that the story of this game, for me, has nothing or little to do with the moves, because I can see by the time graph that your life would have been so much easier if you had used your time. And again, I don't want you to think of yourself like, oh, I'm so dumb for not using my time. No, it's a skill you're going to have to develop, right? and you need to play some longer games, this 30-30 stuff is great. You know, great stuff. Okay, well done. Let's keep going. Next up, oh, this light is killing me. I'm getting murdered here. All right. Next up, we got Rami. Rami doesn't tell us anything. Middle-aged, on and off chess player. Okay. He is maybe on and off with logging his work too. Because he's been graduating a bunch, but he's not over here. Now, hasn't been doing it recently. Got a high tactics rating. That suggests maybe he is going to progress. Now, actually, one thing I should have been noting with the other players is notice here we got this new time management rating. Now, I've been waiting forever. I want them to give me a picture of a rabbit here. The rabbit is the person who moves too fast, which I'm pretty sure that's what's going to be the case with Rami. And the sloth would be somebody who moves too slow. Why do I think it's probably a rabbit? Well, the lower levels, generally, the problem is people move too fast. So we created the time management rating to help people see, to visualize this deficiency in their play. All right, so let's take a look at some of Rami's games, or one of Rami's games. Let's hit this one. This was played in May. Uh-oh. Now, this doesn't have any time. Let's just see if there's one with time. This is an ancient one. You can see where Rami's problem is, right? All right, this one's, well, it's weird. All right, let's do this one just so we can see the time. All right, so mark it as reviewed. Oh, I already reviewed this because this is one he graduated with before. Okay, so we're going to look at this one, and no, I've already done this one too. Timeout. Because he's graduated so many times. Yeah, he's graduated so many times and recently that I've covered all his games. Rami, we know you need to move slower, and if you give another game when you next graduate, which will probably be soon, I'll be happy to look at that. All right, now we have Tarek. Tarek says, not logging all of my chess work on the website, but I'm working hard on my training. Now, whether or not 94 dojo points suggests the man is working hard. Okay. So this was let's call this a pretty big breakthrough, because you can see that really for about a year, he was stalled out and recently made this breakthrough over here. So that's a beautiful thing. Now, Tarek, you are in the wrong, group. You posted yourself to 1112, but you're really at a 1,000 to 1,100. Yeah. So, yeah, this was a premature. This is a premature graduation. Okay. So, Tarek, hope to see you soon, but we'll, get that rating above 1,100. This is the Dojo normalized rating. We had to create a universal rating system to accommodate all of the different things we got. FIDE, USCF, ChessComp, Lichess, all that stuff. All right, now we got simoiosis. Let's see here. I feel like it's a word. It's obviously a Greek-derived word. It's a Trojan youth in the Iliad. Well, there it is. There it is. He's a Trojan youth in the Iliad. Okay. Well, you learn something every day. I've read the Iliad, but of course I do not have no memory of the Trojan youth. All right, let's read. Over the last 6 months, I've hardly been able to study. It's only been for about 4 weeks that I've been able to get back into the program. The Dojo training plan lets you set your own pace, and that's what I like. Most important insight from the last cohort. With fewer blunders, the game becomes more strategic and therefore tougher more positional and exciting. Indeed, chess is starting to be fun. Grüße aus Jena, Deutschland. Amazing. Let's say a couple things about this. I really think that for some, the journey to, let's say, 1250, Chesscom 1000 Dojo, is a little rough in that it's mostly about not dropping pieces. That's where most of the games are decided. Once we get past that, it starts to be a lot more about positional stuff. It will always be at least a little bit about positional stuff, but the positional game really starts to become far more important once we get to a higher level. Next thing I want to say is I lived in Jena for some great years. That was 94 to 96. That was a while ago. That was a while ago. It was a really great time in my life. All right, let's go take a look at Simo, the Trojan Youth. All right. Cool. So, 1108, doing great. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. And I'm hoping he's a part of the German dojo, but maybe we could do a Jena dojo and I will join it. So, Simoiosis, Trojan Youth, if you start that Jena club, I'll join it. All right, so he's got some games. We've got a recent game here. All right. This is the Kiss by Three Queens game. And as you can see, he is playing somebody that stopped thinking. Now, we will say he also stopped thinking, and maybe the excuse is that he's up a piece at the end. We're gonna keep an eye on that. All right. So, good so far. Fine. 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 Okay, so now we're gonna have an interesting position. In general, this is a little bit controversial for white. Mostly because he's losing a tempo when he does it. I think the immediate b6 makes the most sense to me. Okay, fine. Fine. Probably superficial to play knight g5. Because it's not developing. Queen d7. Now, if this move scared me, it would be because of this. That pin gives me a little heebie-jeebies. But okay, he takes. Queen takes. Now, notice, you could take with a pawn, and your rook would be open. Also, when you take with a queen, he gets a free tempo. We don't want your opponents to get free tempi. What does he give you now? A free tempo with a3. Fine. Again, this bishop b5 is what scares me. h3. Bishop d6. Okay. That wasn't the one that scared me. Snip, snop, rock. Oh, I thought you were going to go rock with rook e8. I don't know about knight h5. He does his business. Okay. Now you might as well put your knight in there. That's why you did it. This doesn't look good because can he play rook c1 and win a coconut here? That's what he does. Now, you don't like it, but you're losing a pawn. Right? You're losing a pawn. So this is a bad news situation. Yeah, he's doing great. I don't know about b4. This encourages you to do this. And at least maybe you can shake things up a little bit. Now, that's not nice. Rook a4. They say the rook belongs behind the passed pawn, so maybe that's where you should have gone. Yeah. Now, it is a bad news here, though. I don't know where you're supposed to go. It really is a bad news. Maybe, can we try to take this thing? Check to the miserable king. Dang, that was a good move on his part. Check to the miserable king. Oh, we're getting sliced now. We're getting hosed. Oh, look at this. Oh. Now what is he doing? Push the pawn, bruv. Push the pawn. You should try to play b5 here. Just stop that pawn. Push the pawn. Okay, so let me just go back to move 30. What we want to say is this is the point where both players stopped thinking. Okay, you see it in the time graph there. They both stopped thinking. Mistakes are going to be made, as we saw, again and again. And it's a combination of exhaustion and also the fact that in the end game, you really have to step up your thinking. Right? Okay. So, he asks, what does 1850 CFC translate to? There's a very simple answer. You go to Learn, and you go Rating Conversions, and you go over here. There's our CFC. So 1850 or whatever, that's going to translate to a dojo of about 18 to 1900, ChessCom 2000, 2100, and Lichess 2120, 2180. Anybody can access this. There's some things you got to be a member of the dojo to access, but our rating converter, you can, anybody can use that. All right, so let's go back. And now we have Krebstar, who has graduated a number of times. And he says, my first graduation after switching to my OTB. Should have been my second, but the timing didn't work out with USCF posting new ratings and the dojo rating update. I never wanted to use my USCF rating as I felt it put me in too low of a cohort, but I decided to suck it up and stop letting online ratings inflate my ego. I hate online chess anyway and love OTB. It's been great to see some progress with my OTB rating, hoping for another graduation before the end of the year. Thank you to everyone that worked so hard making the dojo what it is. Thank you, Krebstar. And let me just say, this is basically in every player's, not every player's, but in recent players, players of the Queen's Gambit generation, there's a very common trajectory where as you're getting better, people have started playing online, and they haven't ever played OTB. They haven't played longer games yet. But in order for their chess to progress, and look where Krebstar is, he's up there, at 1200, 1300 now. In order for your chess to progress, you're going to have to play some longer games. And the OTB games, as you can see from thousands of graduate shows, are at a higher level than online, because when you're online, you are distracted. So what happens with a lot of these players is because they're playing opponents who are distracted, they can get a rating that's artificially inflated. And so we see a lot of players who have online ratings that translate to a dojo rating hundreds of points higher than their OTB. And part of it too is they're just not used to thinking and playing, with a real person. So that's maybe Krebstar's story. Let's go take a look. Spinal Tap, I'm doing great. Now there it is, his USCF. I was hoping actually he'd kept his other ratings up and then we could see where they are. It's Nicholas from Omaha, Nebraska. Right? Okay. So, and he's starting to do some local clubs each week. That's a beautiful thing. And you can see he's sporadically logging his business, doing great. And hopefully he'll get more than that in terms of games played. Probably wants a little bit more than that on average to make progress. Time management rating, look at that, 2321. As we get higher rated, as we go up the cohort ladder, we're going to get better and better time management ratings. Surprise, surprise. Okay, is there an Omaha club? The Midwest Dojo. Nebraska Dojo, 6 members. Yes, sir. I have played a chess tournament in just about every state, but never in Nebraska. So that's on my bucket list. Here is Krebstar. And he has got a wonderful time graph here. I'm guessing this is an OTB game. We have natural sounding names. And also, the time control suggests it. What this means, though, is he probably took these times by hand, which might seem tedious, but it helps you move slower when you're during the game. It's playing the game, and also it's a huge benefit to yourself and anyone else watching, like me, who's wondering what the story was of the game. All right, we're going to mark this reviewed, and let's get into it. So good chess so far. Bishop f5 is a little weird, and I think this is a good move. But generally, the reason to do it, cd5, is to play queen b3 here, after which it can become a little uncomfortable for black in what do they do now? Because, well, this is a question, and on queen d7, they get zapped with knight e5. So, g3 I don't like. Notice that when you took, you gave him this square. I think they should develop their coconuts instead. Right, so they wasted a tempo to put the bishop here, but the bishop isn't, he's not doing nothing there. And white, the problem with you going this way, fianchettoing, is he's really running into a rock over here too. Yeah, now maybe not the greatest move, because when you take, you're helping the queen. Notice though that h6 suggests that black isn't feeling the pain in his development. That guy's got to get developed. I agree, you should have taken. Finally, this move. However, it seems like you are encouraging knight a5, which at least superficially looks like it's to black's benefit. He doesn't see it. You go here. Good. You go there. Good. Now, amongst other things, you're preventing knight a5, making him think about knight b6, and maybe knight c5 is on the future for you. Knight e4, probably a good move. Bishop g4, I don't know. He's just trying to create threats. Rook c2, I like it a lot. I don't like a3. I want you to play rook fc1. That's what we were born to do. As we were born. If you had played rook fc1, you could have sunk the knight into c5. Oh, and now he's giving you the business. Oh, it happened so soon. That's at least a good try. And now he's going to give you this business. And you played rook c6. You talk about hg, bishop c2, but you know, it's not the happy days. Queen d7. Weird. Why not just move your knight, son? Just move your knight. You don't have to be a genius. All right, so you missed queen d5. Maybe he would unsubconsciously felt he was going to play bishop h2 on you or something. I don't know. Boom. Check to the miserable king. I'm going to guess you missed that. So everybody's missing some stuff. You at least get that. So now you're not, at least not lost. We were toast before. That's no good. Now his knight gets fixed. Oh, no. Now he's got the file. Yep. This knight's been messing with you, man. This knight's really messing with you. All right. Trade some stuff off. And now this should be a lost king and pawn endgame. I'm just counting things. To me, it looks to me like white's down a pawn. So the queen and pawn endgame should be done. Should be done. He doesn't do it. He still don't do it. Now maybe we might live. H4. I like king e5. Put your king all the way in there. Interesting. Check to the miserable king. Check to the miserable king. Oh, he took it. What a fish. Yeah, that was some good games, Nicholas. That was some good games. So there's a number of tactical problems in this game for both sides. But we really want to commend you on fighting spirit and that allowing you to find this queen f4 move. Something we don't talk too much about, but I've mentioned it a lot, is the amount of resistance you're going to get when you're playing a stronger opponent. It's palpable. It's palpable. And I see it on the grad show too. As I go up the rating ladder, I see players who are putting up more of a fight. And that was a beautiful fight there, and refusing to go down by Nicholas. Okay, well done. Oh, I gotta save my variations. We got this new thing where I can, if I do a variation, it saves and has a little icon of me. All right, next up we got Lorenzo. I feel like I remember Lorenzo. Let's read what he says. I'm getting back to work after a couple months during which I did the bare minimum. Dojo curriculum is great, but I think it still misses a chance to practice slow System 2 thinking in the endgame. My assigned endgame work was all either passive reading or sparring at blitz speed. I supplemented the dojo diet with John Nunn's Endgame Workout for Kids workout workbook, putting all positions on the board and writing my tentative solutions in a notebook. More dojo than the dojo. Great. And you know what's interesting, Lorenzo, is I think at this level that we actually changed it. We added a new requirement of this new book by a guy, I don't know if I'll call him a friend, but I know him, named Willems, who did 1001 endgame exercises for beginners. Now this word beginner, not quite beginners, but I felt like that was the thing we were looking for and kind of what you were talking about here. I don't know Nunn's book, but I'm glad you did it. All right, now look, you guys, 117 points of work, that means the man was truly working. That means it took him a momentito. Okay, and he likes the end game. So if we pop this out, yeah, he's been doing the work. Maybe he takes a little break here and there, but he's been doing the work. And, you know, you can see he probably could have graduated earlier too. But you can see he's on a pretty good trajectory. He's probably also going to want to think about maybe some OTB games as well. Or just longer games. We have a lot of players in the dojo who live someplace where, you know, it's not so easy to play an over-the-board game. And that's right, Devin. She's mastered that book. And then they're playing with, like, these boards that they're just connect to the internet. So you can, like, play on the board and then, you know, have it transfer the moves automatically. One of the, you know, the more popular things is the chestnut, you know, but there's other kinds of boards that allow you to do that. Okay, so there we go. He's in the Swiss dojo. Now, Switzerland, oh, they're playing World Cup, bro. They got past. And I think, oh man, France is playing Morocco today. And then we got Switzerland, Argentina on Saturday. So I figure that's what's going on. Now, I don't know exactly, but I do know there's an Italian minority in Switzerland. Maybe that's what's going on with Lorenzo. Back to the chess cry. Let's open this up here. All right. This was played a game over the board. So you could put your Swiss national rating on there too. So here we go. Good moves, good arrows so far. Fine. Okay. Fine. Fine. That's fine. You can do a lot of different things here. You took, okay. Now you developed your pieces. That's fine. Now d5 is kind of a frisky move. I don't know. This is going to weaken this point here. Now you took, and I don't think you should take. Now you could play bishop g5 or bishop d2 or something, and you'd be threatening ed5. So I think that's better than taking because now black has a lot of juice in the center. Good move. Probably they should push. They take. Queen d7. Okay. Fine. This is a mistake because you're enabling knight e4. Fun. That doesn't look right, does it? You did some great analysis here. c5. Oh, man, that would have frightening move. Holy moly. Boom. 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 And now he's got some little bit of griefs. And you guys talk about rook f7, rook f6. But you're basically alive. Right? Very good annotations, by the way. Rook f6, knight d5. That's the kind of annotation we're looking for. So you spank this guy, but you're also spanking this guy, which is mucho importante, because when I take, I want to have this going on over here. Now he does it that way. So the variation, by the way, these variations are great. So it had to be recaptured because we were hitting this guy. And he says he's only a tiny bit better. No, I think you're probably winning this. Yeah. You're good because this rook is so strong. Yeah, I think it's probably winning, but good. The project is to get good at annotating, and you're doing it here, man. Look at this thing. Boom. Beautiful. Ah, he's just jumping out. He's jumping out. Rook d8. Boom. And then now, as we saw in the last example, the person with the extra pawn should win. Good. c4. Thank you very much. I'd be a little concerned here. No, I'm not concerned. King e5. No, I am concerned. Excuse me, I'm concerned with the thing we should be looking at. And the question should be, did we need to play c4? Is because here, I don't know, let's say here, here, I don't know. I don't know. You know? Now, it should still be winning, but it's clearly going to be a lot harder. Yeah, so a4 is a little bit lackadaisical. You don't need to do this because you want to have the right to meet a5 with a3. Now you don't have that right. And you took. We want to ask, though, wouldn't this have been clever? Ba-bam. Give it to him. That way. That's what's called an outside pass pawn. Okay, so this goes down. Great time graph, by the way. Now, he spent 19 minutes. I think black is lost, but honestly, when we're talking about tenacity, the guy needs to take a moment here. He does need a moment. And g4 is I like king d3 better. Okay, boom. Boom, simple chess. Simple chess. Now it's easily winning. Okay. Well done. Beautiful stuff. Great annotations. Great variations. I'm hoping people watching this can see that as we went up in skill, the time graph improved dramatically, and the quality of variations in the analysis also very much improved. So well done there, Lorenzo. That's what we want with the game review. All right, we got Angry Man. Angry Man doesn't tell us anything, which isn't surprising because when you're kind of angry, it's one of those silent types, you know? That's a silent type. They're not going to say much. Got a USCF of 1371. That's looking pretty good. Maybe going to graduate again soon. All right. Doesn't have a time management rating, but it does seem like there's at least one game in here. Clubs, nothing. Games? Now I'm a little bit unclear where I should go. Is it here? No, that's from 25. So the games should go in the My Games folder. This is a 30 plus 5. In general, we want a longer game here for the rating level that you're at. Okay. Fine, this is all theory, I guess we can say. Queen c2 I don't like, because the queen is probably going to be uncomfortable here. Reasonable move by white, and now notice that black is going to achieve e5 now. I don't know about c4. I don't know about that. Now you need to hit him with e4. Maybe. The good news is you've got better development. And your opponent doesn't care about development at all. There's a lot of questions here. King e7, holy moly. Do I know? I don't know. There's a lot of questions. I don't have the answers. I don't like that one. He's going backwards. Bang! I had a good move. Very nice. Okay. Queen d6 is winning a pawn and everything, but isn't this also very interessante? Because I want to play knight c6. I can take later. Now, when he does this, doesn't he want to actually go that way? Question. I don't know. It looks like it. All right. Boom, boom. All right. Big momentito. Knight c4. Good move. Goodbye. And he's had lives. I've had enough, he says. I've had enough. I can't take it. I can't take it at all. So there it is. I'll save these variations. So time graph would help. That's just a thing of you importing it. I think you should play some longer games. I think the variations, as you saw from the game before this, would really help you to go a little bit deeper. But overall, you're making good progress, Uzai. Angry man. Now we got Sans. Let's see what Sans says. I've been playing OTB for the last 45 years, all over the UK. I've acquired many books, lots unread. Dojo has provided a structured training method, which I'm enjoying. I particularly like the Polgar mate book. Beautiful. Here we go. And Sans is really working on it here. Look at this. 1391, almost to 1400. You pop this out, the man's really been going for it since the beginning of the year. That looks good. Okay, we'll look at a couple other things. Now, he hasn't been in the program that long, but ultimately we want him to have 40 games in a year. Got a time management rating of 1865. Soon, we're going to see whether it's a sloth. It's going to say a sloth or bunny there. All right. ECF, he's got 1313, so similar to his elite chess rating. Clubs. Well, give us one of those UK clubs. Come on now. And some people aren't putting their games into my games, but I think this is the one we're looking for. All right, so notice is a slightly more appropriate time control for where he's at, 45 plus 30. Longer the better, right? Looks good. Let's say it again. As we move up the rating ladder, these time graphs look more, look better. Good move. Maybe white's best or most combative is to transpose into a French advance here. Snip, snap. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. I don't like this because now you can isolate the pawn on d4. And that's what the stockfish says. Bishop f5, knight f1. Interesting move. Weird. So he is just like, I don't care. I don't care about the isolated pawn. All right, here, this looks like a mistake because, well, the knight belongs on c6, and here you're going in an adventure, which is easily met by knight e3, as you say. Stop. So he goes that way. Weird. Good. All right. And now me play bishop c2. Rook c8 makes a lot of sense to me. Good. Okay. Knight d3. You know, he's finally dealing with your knight there. I like queen b6. Okay, I understand what he's doing. Good. Now his pawn is toast. Knight. And the computer is talking about knight d4. We should at least mention that as a variation. Now here in this position, we have to be a little concerned because his bishops could become quite good. So creative for him to play rook a2, so that if he had taken, your knight would have got in. He goes on an adventure here, okay. Maybe h6 before queen c3. I'm not sure I get it. Like, maybe there's some reason he can't play bishop d2. Okay. And you say black is a little bit better. d4 gives me the heebies because of this bishop d1 stuff. Queen d5. And now full blunder, bishop b2. So without this, the computer, shouting at me at his dead level. Okay. Blunder. It happens even at this level, my friends. Now, I'm going to suggest, it's my experience, is that one of the reasons OTB is better to play is there's less blunderings of this kind. People are a little bit more focused. Online, you look at your emails going ding, 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 or something like that. People are distracted. A lot of people don't believe me with that, but I just want to say that's been scientifically proven. Okay? I'm not just making it up. I do make up things. That's true. But I'm not making up that. All right, here we go. We got a couple more here. Now we got I don't know how to say it. Let's call him Aman. Aman looks like he joined in April and has been busy ever since. We got our first FIDE rating of the day of 1627. And really, eventually, what I'm hoping for is for the FIDE rating to be equal to the Dojo rating. And the only reason it's all different now is just because of the FIDE rating boost that happened. So that's why Aman has a Dojo rating of 1400, but a FIDE rating of 1600. Okay. Now, here we actually see the reverse, where his FIDE rating is substantially higher than his online rating. Both of his online ratings. His Dutch rating is a little higher. And maybe what happened, who knows, is that when he got his FIDE rating, maybe he hasn't played that much yet. Possible. This is the kind of thing that when you are in the game and profile review, we have time to talk about it and figure things out. Grounds for Thought podcast. Thank you for saying that. That's in the YouTube chat. All right, so let's go take a look at Aman's games here. Oh, he says for review. I think this is meant for me. Normally I want to look at the... No, that's from 2025. Let's see what's going on over here. Okay, so we don't have a time graph. You guys know my rant. It's possible to bring it in. All right, a little bit of Gambito. Interesting. Wow, I kind of like it. So it's like a Danish gambit. Oh, I like this for white. This is fun. So d6, and now we get a blunder with c takes b2. Yeah. No, excuse me. I know people hate it when I do that with the eyes. The thing we should say about c takes b2 is even if you are in sleep deprivation mode like he is, you got to say to yourself, developing the bishop like that, Danish gambit style. It's just intuitively something I don't want to do. So even if you weren't getting whacked on G7, you would want to not do C takes B2, or at least, you know. All right, so here we go. Boom, boom. Now we're toast. And now he takes another pawn. He's taking a lot of pawns, but Queen B3. No, now he's wrecked. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are wrong with this here. We got a snip here. Some weird stuff is going to happen. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand any of it. So white did that poorly, but he's still up a piece, unfortunately. And now he's got this guy. When you are down in time, in his development, this is the kind of thing that's going to happen to you. So, one thing we want to say about this is you really got to be careful about letting your development get out of hand, right? And bishop b4 is going to help white develop. It was a very clever thing he did. The standard move is like bishop c5. I think the standard thing goes like something like this. This is called the Max Lang attack. And God, you tell me I understand this position. I've seen this for decades, but that's too complicated for me, my friend. Okay, so well done. Oh, we have the famous Skrytop. Let's read what Skrytop says. This is JD. Excited to be moving up to the 15-16. This graduation came in just 2 weeks as the upward momentum from the past few months just kept rolling. It's a direct reflection of the impact of the work snowballing. I didn't even have time to jump into the new cohort's material. I'm really looking forward to joining Team Lasker for the game and profile reviews and diving into the July workshop. See you all in the next cohort. Beautiful. So JD is part of this game and profile review, and he's been doing good work. And maybe the most cool thing about this is this doesn't look like he was in a plateau, but I remember feeling a little bit like, oh, there was a time, in fact, you can see it here. So, we started the game and profile review over here, and yeah, you can see it. So he had from here, January, to here, where he was basically flat, right? And now he's just going to graduate twice in a row. You see one here, just a couple weeks ago, and now here, boom. And so that's reflecting this massive jump. So it's very inspirational because we all will get stuck no matter what. And most of us give up. But if you trust the process, whatever it is you do, doesn't have to be chess, but if you trust the process, you will get some kind of lift, right? You will get it. And so it's really cool to see JD doing this. He talks about his chess journey. One thing we were talking about before is online and OTB, and JD lives on an island, dude. He lives on this island, and it's very hard for him to get in, so he's normally playing chess on chess.com, but he's also playing USCF. But you can see here, USCF, he's barely able to play, right? So it's a harder thing for him to do. So yeah, this is super cool that he's been able to do this. All right, he's got his 2026 goals. I like it a lot. And there you see, look, that's work. That's work, my friend. Right there, that is work. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Right. Okay, so we got some games. And you can see he's done the work here too. He's got 34 games. This is fairly recent. Portland Chess Club Sunday Quads. Beautiful. I'll mark this as reviewed. And there you see he is marking that down by hand, helping him go slower. And right away, we'll say one of the great things is his time usage here. Beautiful. All right. So let's take a look. Now, here we're just going to have a superficial look. In the game and profile review, what would happen is he would do a first annotation. He would talk through it with people who are at his own level. And then a couple days later, we'd talk about it with me again. And you might say, that's a lot. Well, there's a lot of questions generally. And when we are doing this kind of analysis here, we're just scratching, when I'm doing the grad show, that is, we're just scratching the surface. The other cool thing about him graduating is will graduate to a higher group. We have 5 groups in the Dojo Game and Profile Review, from just absolute beginner, right, all the way up to about 2,100 FIDE. So it's a wide gap, and so he's moving from the second group to the third group, which is really fun. All right, here we go. Boom. All right, so we've transposed into a French. A poor move by Black. Now, one of the things that we talk a lot about, actually, in the game profile review is at this level, one of the most common things that we're going to see as a mistake is people not appreciating development. And that's definitely the case with this move, c6. Good move. So he gives up his center pawn. Good move. Fine. I don't know. I like bishop e7 better. You don't like bishop f6? I think it's fine. Knight f3. I don't think Black is slightly better. I disagree with that. I think you're doing all right. Your development is too good. Look at this. You're doing great. Queen d3 is a little weird to me. I guess I would prefer queen e2. I don't understand king h8. Do I understand knight e2? I don't. So rook a d1 would be a good default move. Okay. Spicy. That's an interesting move. So he wants the queen to move away, and then we will play queen d4 with a little bit of a threat. And what's fun about knight h5 is you can see he's got a grip on the squares. He sees that the queen cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go there, can't go here. And so on these moves, we can take the pawn. Now, Black is moving a little too fast for my thinking, because here, this is a big decision. So here we're going to get a calculation. Knight f6, boom, 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 boom. And now he says the position is unclear. Intuitively, I believe in white here because of our better development and his shattered pawns. So, bishop e5 is a challenging move for us to face, though. So, one cool thing is, I don't think c3 really ruins it. Now, he's going to evaluate knight f5 as being either, well, it seems like he's saying it's better for white. So my sense would be the critical variation would be bishop b2, rook b1, bishop c3, rook e7. Very nice move. So notice we have this great initiative because of our better development, even though it's the endgame. So that's a great analysis. Beautiful. Now, if I was going to disagree with something, I'd be like, wait a second. Here you're saying unclear, and then later it seems like you're saying white's better. Right? Let's say, though, this opponent, he's not doing well when it comes to the development game. All right, I still like your position. I cannot believe that Black is clearly better here. No way. No way, Jose. Bishop e6, good move. Bishop c2. Okay. 88. Now, our claim, in his claim as well, is if bishop a2, we have b3. Now, I don't like rook f e8. I was just beginning to think, too, that maybe he could convince me that we are worse here. Maybe. But it would be with rook d7 followed by this move. That's the move that scares me. He has some awkward pawns, too, though, so I don't know. Rook f8. I don't like this move. You're giving him bishop g4. And I'm to blame for this one. Because he says, my goal here was to carve out some breathing room and put the pawns on dark squares to complement my light square bishop. But we're unfortunately also giving him diagonals like this and this. Yeah. So I would think f3, just so I can get my king a little closer. And if you want to put him on dark squares, I understand. Play f4 then. g3. Good move by your opponent. Snip, snap. Rook here. Okay. Wants to threaten a little mate. Good. And now you play bishop b3, which, notice, you're going to lose a full tempo here, and you didn't note it. So you're going to go here, and then give him that tempo. That's where he wants to go anyway. And only then play bishop d1. So obviously, if you're going to do that, bishop d1 first. You got to do bishop d1 as partly as a consequence of this g3 move. Okay. Now, if I was black and you, I would want to calculate how do I feel about boom and then some kind of bringing the king around. You know, that's what I'd want to talk about. Because that's a very nice position for black. And that's a blunder. So, black really, truly moving too fast. Okay? And what we're both players are missing is here you go snip. He says, I'm a genius. I check you. Either one of these. And then you could have just gone snooker, snocker. You could have gone snooker, snocker. And this one, I would say, I mean, it's a big advantage. It's a very big advantage. Because that's a powerful pawn. So king e1. Things are getting rough here. Okay. Now, big moment for black. They need to think about it. They don't really. Okay, it's getting hot. King g5. And now a mistake is made. I didn't stop and think for a few moves and passed quickly through this fatal blunder where he goes king d2. Very natural move, played quickly, and now look what happens. His king is more active. This is the threat. Now h5 comes. Now, if I was white, I would be more concerned with f5, but maybe it doesn't make a difference. So h5, a4. I want black to play this. Now here we should play king f3. Now, he shouldn't have allowed that. He shouldn't have allowed that. He didn't have to. He could have got this f4 move in without allowing us to play f3. Would have been a lot easier. All right, so our fundamental problem is that he has more tempo to burn than we do in this endgame. So let's look. King e5, probably a good move. And notice we're in a real jam here. He played that pretty well. Let me just look, because he allowed this. And I was like, bro, you shouldn't have allowed that. Our guess is lost. Here's what I mean. He can sit longer than you can because he's got 1, 2, 3 moves to burn, and you only have 1. Oh, man, that was a rough game. JD, though, man, you are improving. Very much so. Very much so. We marked it as reviewed. Really beautiful stuff. Yeah, he's going to be in the Lasker group now. All right, now we got Mark Roddy, who is a famous dojo. He says, found it quite hard to motivate myself to study while I was in this cohort, and also did not get to play many classical games due to moving house and various other excuses I gave myself. Scrolling back through my heat map, you'll see a massive drop-off. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward to starting fresh in the next cohort with some new material. Now you can see Mark Roddy. He's flying up there. Flying. Okay, so, yeah, he's on and off on the heat map. He's at the stage, really, where he should be transitioning to OTB. Yeah, should be playing more. And look at that time. Probably moving too fast. One of the things we've seen is that people who play online are generally moving faster than people doing longer games, online or OTB games. All right, here we go. Let's take a look. So there you see a little moving fast. Both players, it is a longer time control. So I need to get in the habit of using my time. And he talks about opening knowledge. We'll see how important that is. Well, your opening knowledge so far seems good to me, and you've won the opening battle here, my friend. So basically, the whole point of White's setup is to try to find a way to stop Black from developing their light square bishop, their bad bishop, and now you did it. So you're doing great. Fine, you could have also played bishop e7, knight h5, sure, but you're doing okay here. No one knows what a3 is. So notice, this has nothing to do with your opening, my friend. Castles, castles. Well, maybe it's equal, but you're doing fine. You talk about e5. Well, you got a lot of different moves here that I like. e5's fine. This move is weird. Okay. All right, so we want to go minority attack. I don't understand that move. b5, h3. You took. This helps his worst piece. So probably bishop h5 is more tenacious. Okay, you don't like it, but it's definitely been your plan here. And White should consider b4. He plays knight e5, and you say b4 is a mistake. And you give the variation cb. But I don't understand this, because here you can play knight d4. So I'm not sure yet that b4 is a mistake. It looks pretty natural to me. AB, queen e2. You're doing fine, of course. Boom, boom. Typical minority attack position. Now you play knight a5. Okay. I think you're doing okay. King h1, nobody understands. I don't anyway. Fine. I don't like that move. We're in. Rook a6, we're calling it an exclam. Queen f8, we're calling it an exclam. Okay. Dirty tricks, but we say, all right, we're here for you. And then he finds this trick. So one of the things is, this is a good example of moving too fast. Because why? If it's possible to take on c3, then White is totally done, as in game over. So, you really need to check it. And your opponent has a dastardly trick here that you fall for. Oh, man, that's a good one. All right, so what's the damage here? What is the damage? The other thing we should say is maybe you should be taking with the king here, my friend, because your knight needs to come back anyway. So maybe king takes. See, you're basically, it's as if you played in this position king g8, which you could do, but, I don't think that makes sense. Good. kind of meandering around here. Is it a double question mark? I don't know. Makes some sense to me. He wants to stop knight e4. That ain't it. Check to the queen. And then white's like, I'm done. I'm done. Yep. Okay. So, Mr. Roddy, you're doing great. My biggest advice for you is you need to slow down. And it would help to slow down if you played some well, maybe OTB or, just focus on it, because that's where, we're making some mistakes. Your opponents are going to be making the same kind of thing. All right. I'm getting a little burned out, I got to say. Well, not burned out, but my mind is going. So, by the way, Devin the Dastardly, who's in the Game Profile Review, does this great thing every time we do the grad show, and he's gifting people memberships on YouTube. So thank you very much, Devin. That's very nice. All right. So let's go back. And I think the next two people didn't give us any games. Now, my take on this is because when you're a stronger player, such as these next two, it's often harder to confront your games. I know that from personal experience. Also, working with stronger players. It's hard. It's harder because so much of your life and your identity is wrapped up in chess. So looking at it is that much more painful. When we started the program, there was an interesting moment where I really was thinking that we wouldn't be successful in getting people to review their games. But it had to be part of the program because I knew that was how people improved. And I thought it would be difficult because I had my own experience of people not reviewing their games, being my students, and also myself. I knew how hard that was. But the lower rated players had no problem doing it, man. No problem. Whereas the Matthew R's of the world, having grief. Anyways, Matthew, I congratulate you for making it up. We clearly need to see some work, bruv. We need to see some games. Same thing goes for Nico. Let's go take a look at Nico for a second. Nico's a similar situation. He's a doctoral candidate in law. Okay, great. Aus Deutschland. So, Bernd Stromberg. All right, beautiful stuff. He's playing some classical games. He's got a German rating way up there of 1640. So that looks good. That normalizes to 1744. Interesting. That was one of the things. That was a new rating translation. So the German one is actually below, underrated. That's interesting. And Nico, though, has he given us any games? Wait a second. That says 1. So probably what that means is it's an older game. I think that's what the algorithm means. Yeah, that's from several months ago. Okay, Nico. So you did have 1, but we'd want it to be a more recent game. Finally, we got Akil. Akil says, Dojo Plan has helped me a lot in finding structure with my training. I'm playing better chess than I ever have before and beat my highest rated opponent ever last month, 2053. Beautiful. All right, let's go take a look at Akil. Got the famous tall smoking the cigarette picture up there. And you could see he's been a member since 23, but maybe we could say he's sporadically logging his business. Now, as I mentioned before, once you get up to 2,000 ChessCom, it is time to go something else, like your FIDE rating. It is time because you're playing cheaters and all kinds of stuff is going on there. We've discovered statistically it becomes more and more inaccurate as you get higher up there. Uh-oh. That was a weird sound. I got a little beep beep going on. Was that my phone? I don't know. Okay. So, Kraai. He has a game. He's got he's played a lot. He's doing well there. We don't have a time management rating. We're going to see what's going on with this game. So he's got loads, and he's got a recent one. Let's look at this one. So it's a 40 plus 5. We would definitely want at this level a what do we want to call it? A longer time control. So here we go. And of course, you can log the times. This is an interesting move. So white is going to play a Sicilian. Knight f6. Right, knight f4, d4, that looks scary. So now he's going to go back to f6, which is kind of like a popular retreat square in the modern, the white side against the Sicilian. Back in the day, we would always put it on b6. Good, good. Now d4 looks definitely strong for white. d4, great. Good. Bishop g5. I'm just looking. There's a lot of questions. Knight d5 is kind of interesting. Queen e5, forcing everything off. Now this is definitely a mistake. Bishop f6. e5, I don't know. All right. So now he makes a mistake and has to play bishop d8 next. So when you make a mistake, you want to tell us what you should have done. And I guess you're saying you should have played bishop d8 immediately. Right, because now you have trouble playing c6. So king d7 looks real nasty with rook 8 fd1 check. So you say, I'm going to give the pawn, boss. Knight c7. Rook c8. Knight d5 makes a lot more sense, of course. Good. So we have the better minor, but I don't even know if it's better because that knight's about to land on d6. Exclam. Good move. Now we might be better. And now you play b6 and say, I think black is holding quite easily here. Well, why do you want to draw here, though? So let's talk about b6. Why aren't we playing bishop d4? Isn't that what we want to do? Sometimes what happens is, we have suffering down a pawn and stuff, and now your opponent blundered, and now you're just like, oh, I'm just so relieved to get out of dodge. But bishop d4, I don't know what's happening. I don't know. His king's worse than your king. Your minor piece is amazing. Look at that thing. It's got control. Oh, this guy's a weenie. This guy's a weenie. No, this one scares me. I would never want to take this knight here. I don't understand. Yeah. Maybe you missed b4. Rook d8. g3. My opponent offered to draw here, and given king f8 would be met by rook e7, there really is not any justification for me to play on, so I accepted a fair result. He's the one blundering around. Like, boom, boom. Let's just talk for a second. Let's just talk. Rook here. Rook here. Probably we want to do that move. Now, is it holdable for white? Of course. But, give him a little business. No draw for you, bud. No draw for you. All right, everybody. I need to make an announcement. Okay? I am playing in this very fancy tournament, and it's intense. It's the U.S. Senior Closed. And the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing that. I don't know what the future of the grad show is for the next couple weeks. I am going to be able to do the game and profile review because we're moving those. This thing, though, I think it's too much to imagine that I'm going to be able to do it. So if I don't get some help from Kostya or somebody to do the grad show, I don't know what's going to happen. Somebody out there could do it. Even if you're not a GM, maybe Devin, dude. I think that would be fun because Devin's got costumes and he could host it. That would be fun, dude. We could have Devin hosting the grad show. Yeah, that would be a good time. In any case, don't think I'll be here for the next 2 weeks. We're going to try to get some kind of substitute teacher in. Whenever a sub that gets in, a lot of times people are mean to that sub, but I think hopefully we have a better culture than that here at the dojo. All right, my friends, I'm going to raid somebody here and then I'm out of here.